Hi, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kaiser Aslam. I work as a Muslim chaplain, and today I'm here on Muslim to answer any questions people might have about Islam or Muslims.
My name is George and I practice Catholicism. I'm not Muslim.
My name is Ajita. I practice Hinduism as a religion. I am not Muslim.
Hi, my name is Mel. I am currently agnostic and I am not a Muslim.
Hello, my name is Joey. I grew up practicing Roman Catholic as my religion. As of now, I kind of part ways with that. I believe in a higher power and I am not a Muslim.
My name is Eric. I am agnostic and I am not Muslim.
Hi, my name is Chris. I was raised Catholic, but I no longer practice, and I am not Muslim.
My name is Sharon. I do not practice any religion, and I am not Muslim.
My name is Jess. I was raised Catholic, but I don't practice a religion currently, and I'm also not Muslim.
My name is Celis. I don't practice a religion, but I believe in God, and I am not Muslim yet. I don't really know too much, but I do know I pray 5 times a day. I don't eat pork. That's like the biggest one. I know it's like, I say like the devil's food.
I know about Eid and Ramadan. It's a special celebration. They celebrate it once a year.
Ramadan's a really big holiday between both Christians and Muslim people, so a lot of people confuse that. Mecca is a big one that comes to mind.
My knowledge is very little. I couldn't really tell you anything about either one.
I know like the major holidays. I know like 5 times a day. Just the general parameters of the religion I know and understand now, but there's still, like I definitely wouldn't say I'm educated on Islam.
I don't know much about Muslim or Islam. I am also not very educated, but I did grow up in Jackson Heights, Queens, and so I'm very familiar with the good food and the good people and the praying, and I also grew up going to like my friend's house, so all I remember is like just organization, carpets everywhere, color, and like just good food.
Islam is a religion that is practiced by about 2 billion people on earth, which really boils down to 2 major tenets, and that is to believe in God and to believe that God guides in the form of sending messengers.
What are stereotypes you heard about Muslims? That they be bombing, they'll walk in the mall with like a suitcase, drop it and run, or people try to make fun of them?
Like I have a distinct memory of being on the school bus home, and there was one kid in my neighborhood, and I'm not even sure he was Muslim. He was Lebanese though, he looked Arab, and they used to like throw stuff at him, like constantly call him a terrorist, and like, you know, that was really me seeing like the first like actual, you know, someone really dealing with that persecution.
Even if you're Middle Eastern or just associate yourself with someone of Islamic religion, you're automatically considered like a terrorist or some taboo thing, when in reality, it's not like that. It's just one bad seed doesn't ruin the whole bunch.
I've definitely heard that they're more strict sometimes in terms of the differentiations between sons and daughters, right? Daughters have less freedom than their sons.
What is it called? The things that you wear on your head?
Yeah, that's the hijab that you oftentimes will see Muslim women wearing.
Yeah, so I see a stereotype about that is that they're apparently doing something mischievous as far as, you know, trying to steal something or things like that.
I've also heard, which is not true, that women have to or forced to use a hijab. Unfortunately, people had the stereotypes where people could hide like bombs in like their hijab or stuff like that. For people to actually believe in them is ridiculous and very offensive.
Because, you know, in movies, they try to put that ideal on certain people or certain groups to make it seem like they're bad people, and then they'll have that one group look like they're stars.
You realize how easily swindled people are by the media and by like other people's comments. A lot of family members who are just not open-minded, who are very ignorant, and they'll just be like, oh, like let's cross the street. Like you don't want to be on the same street as a terrorist. God forbid they have a big book bag on them, and it's just, I personally tried my best to like stand up for those kids because I don't like injustice that way, but it's just not, it wasn't fair.
I just want to say too, it's kind of frustrating when you see like people from other oppressed backgrounds being complicit in that type of stuff.
I'm sorry, this question I get really like kind of like upset about, because like I've seen my friends and the way they feel about it and how it hurts them on a whole other level.
What country do Muslims come from? Is this a trick question?
That's a trick question.
That's like saying, what country do Christians belong to? I can't really answer that. You know, they're everywhere.
As far as I know, Muslims come from a lot of countries, not just one.
Muslims actually come from all over the world, and most of the countries that you named, of course, are the stereotypical ones that we'll hear about, which is good. Those are Muslim countries. But the biggest Muslim country on earth is actually Indonesia.
Indonesia?
So Muslims will come from India, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from Turkey. Turkey also is primarily Muslim. Lebanon, but you also have lots of Muslims in Australia, in the United States, in any of the Latin countries in South America. So you'll have Muslims literally from all over the world.
What questions do you have about Islam? I don't know, I feel like I have quite a few questions about Islam.
Who is Jesus to Muslims? I do know they consider him a prophet, but how important was he to Muslims?
That's a great question. So Muslims believe in all of the 25 prophets that are found within the Quran named, but they believe that there were over 125,000 prophets sent. Certain prophets that were sent for a specific group of people, and other prophets who were more universal in nature. Jesus is seen as one of the most important prophets in the Islamic tradition, and he is the prophet right before Prophet Muhammad, who's considered the last prophet. So Jesus has actually a very central role within the Islamic tradition. The idea that he was given a message of the Bible, or in the Quran it's called the Injil, and there's even a general belief that Jesus will come back in the Islamic tradition before the Day of Judgment. So for a Muslim to be a Muslim, they have to believe in Jesus as one of the most revered messengers of God.
So what does Islam say on sex before marriage?
Muslims feel very strongly about the relationship or the institution of marriage. So in the general orthodox understanding of the tradition, there is no acts of intimacy with the opposite gender before marriage. So that would include sex. Sex before marriage is considered sinful.
Question that I want to ask a Muslim. Muslims can't eat meat, or is that true?
So Muslims can eat meat, though there will be many dietary restrictions on what that meat is. So certain types of meat, like pork, are forbidden. But when it comes to regular meat, most Muslims will eat it. There are Muslims that will eat only the dhabiha meat, which is meat that's been slaughtered in a certain way. So it's kind of like the equivalent of being kosher. And then other Muslims will eat meat as long as it's not pork.
I don't eat pork myself, but why don't you eat pork?
That's a really good question. And Muslims don't eat pork because there are very few foods that are forbidden in the Quran. One of them is actually meat from pigs. Muslims don't think pigs are from the devil or anything like that. Pigs aren't evil, but we're not supposed to eat whatever God tells us not to eat. And God said don't eat things that are dead already, so rotting flesh, and don't eat pork. So that's why Muslims abstain from eating pork.
Can Muslim people smoke weed now that it's legal and that the whole taboo behind it is gone? Is that something that's allowed?
So Muslims in weed? Yeah, recreationally, no. It doesn't fall under a category of being permissible. However, if there is a legitimate medical need for you to take it on as a medicine, it's opened up to be used as a medicine, but not for recreational use. So getting high in Muslim, not gonna happen.
Do all Muslims smoke hookah?
Smoking hookah is actually considered one of those areas where some Muslims will consider it to be forbidden, others will say it's disliked, and others will say it's okay. So to simply answer the question, no, not all Muslims smoke hookah. If anything, most Muslims would find themselves not smoking hookah.
I'm not gonna hold you. Every Muslim that I know smokes hookah daily.
How do you remain devoted? Because I've seen, like, as a Catholic, I've seen a lot of people stray away from their religion. And so, like, I'm sort of envious of how people could remain in the religion.
The doors of forgiveness are always open for a person. There are literal narrations that say, up until the moment of death, that God is, the mercy of God is open. So, of course, you can ask for forgiveness, and there's supposed to be actually no stigma with that person because they actually turned back. If anything, they're at a higher level than maybe someone who never went through struggles like that and didn't turn back. So it's actually considered a mark of honor if you maybe engaged in something and then turned back to God, rather than being someone who maybe never even experienced any struggle to begin with.
Do you guys change any part of the religion as time goes by in life, you know, as things change in social life?
That's a really, really good question. And one way to answer that is the religion itself. There's a verse in the Quran that says, Akmaltu yawma dinikum, which translates to, today I have completed your religion. So it's seen as a religion is closed, that the two major texts of the religion, the Quran and the Sunnah, the way of the Prophet Muhammad, are considered closed, but it's always open to reinterpretation. So there's a concept called ijtihad, which is scholars of the religion actually will look at the original text and decide by analogy how it applies to current circumstances. So yes, in that way, there is almost an updating towards the current context, but the sources of the religion have been closed and stay the same.
How many prophets are there?
So in the Islamic tradition, there are 25 prophets that are named in the Quran, the first being Adam, the last being Muhammad, but it's believed that there are over 125,000 prophets.
Do you think it's a strict religion? I think that's a good question that I'd want to ask a Muslim. Like, do you feel restricted by your religion in any way?
I think for a lot of people, this idea of growing with God or growing with your understanding of God is found within many traditions, but the Islamic tradition is something that's definitely supported, where even there's a passage in the Quran that talks about prophets. The prophet Abraham actually goes through a moment where he asks God, God, can you show me this? Can you show me how the dead will be raised back to life? And scholars took that to say, you're supposed to have that personal kind of struggle with your own doubts in order to, at the end of the day, actually be more authentic in your relationship to God, not to just bottle them up and like, we don't ask those type of questions. So it's actually encouraged to kind of go through that wrestling in order to come out, hopefully, in a more authentic self at the end.
You know, I was just asking my brother yesterday and asking Muhammad, because I kind of wanted to learn Arabic. He said that someone told him if he were to read the Quran that you would basically be able to learn the language. I don't know if that's true or not. Is that true?
The Quran, which is the holy text that Muslims follow, is in Arabic, and it's only actually recited in Arabic. So yes, if you had proficiency in the Quran, you would have proficiency in also speaking in Arabic. Though not all Muslims speak Arabic, only actually about 11% of Muslims on earth are Arab. So probably even less than that speak actual Arabic. Okay.
I go to this spot in Newark. They got like this Muslim oil. Is that like something common, or is that something they brought to America?
Muslim oil. So the idea of aromatic oils or smelling good, it's actually a tradition of the Prophet Muhammad that a Muslim should take care of themselves and clean themselves. So actually the idea of putting on perfume was one of the things the Prophet loved to do very often. So it's considered actually religiously beneficial to smell good. I have some, what type of musk? Sudanese musk right now. But you want to try it?
So I would like to know what Islam means to you.
So, I would say Islam, it translates to a submission, a peaceful submission. And it's this idea of it is a way of life that allows you to be confident and comfortable with your position in your life in relation to your Creator.
Do you know any Muslims personally? If so, describe them. My favorite one is sitting right next to me. One of my best friends growing up, Muhammad, but we call him Mo. He's funny. He's a normal person. He cracks way too many jokes. Sometimes they fall short, but you know, he tries his best. He likes to think that he's cute. He likes to think that he has game.
I don't know too many Muslims personally.
I know a lot of Muslims actually.
I know some good Muslims and I know some
Muslims.
like very genuine, if I have to say. Like, they might be a little crazy sometimes, but they're very genuine people, like always trying to feed you. You can be sitting there doing nothing. You know, somebody gets bored, they'll go home and play the game or something. They like, let's go give back. That's different. Like, you need people like that around.
No one's ever disrespecting you. You don't feel that sense of someone is talking behind your back.
They're really sweet, they're very endearing, they're very open-minded, they're very homey. They'll invite you to their house, like, no matter what. They're always going to feed you. That is like a no-go. If you're starving and they see you starving, they will feed you.
My earliest halal memories was like being a teenager when I would come visit my cousins in New York and we would play basketball all day and you just wanted to eat a meal. And halal was always like affordable and it slapped, whether it was like lamb over rice, chicken over rice. And spicy though, like keep water on deck. It's gonna put hair on your chest. You know, we're Hispanic, so we're not strangers to spice, but they, you know, they kick it up.
Take it to another level, yeah.
Yes, I do know one pretty personally. Muhammad, that's my boy. We grew up go way back. Muhammad has, always been there for me as far as working out, going to the gym, keeping me focused. He definitely teaches me a lot. He's a very handsome guy. Sometimes I get jealous when I go out with him because girls look at him first instead of me, so.
Just such a vast, diverse culture. I mean, really, like, there's like 1 billion of you guys or something like that. You guys, you roll deep. And,
I mean, one thing I'll say about that is the best antidote to Islamophobia that's been developed is actually just getting to know a Muslim.
And I also did the fasting to give myself discipline. And then I would go right to Muhammad's house, and his mom would have all the food on the table. Oh man, I loved it.
Yeah, and stuff like you mentioned, like being hospitable or being very, very good at hospitality, that's a part of Islamic culture, that your guest is considered actually sustenance from God to you. So if someone comes over to you and is about to interact with you, for you to treat them well and them to treat you well is a gift from God. So it actually comes from a religious place.
Thanks for watching.
Be sure to follow and subscribe to Muslim.